I definitely want him to have a work ethic. That's definitely my number one thing my dad instilled in me was how hard we should work, no matter what, no matter how good you are, no matter what the goal is, just grinding to your fullest. I just know there's no one in this sport that's going to work harder than me. No one's going to be in better condition than me. No one's going to be more prepared for me when I walk in that cage. And that's because something my dad instilled in me at a very young age. We were well off. He was very successful in business, but I had to work for anything I wanted. If I I had to buy my own first vehicle. I had to, raise pigs and steers growing up. We worked really, really hard to get what we wanted, as well as got me into wrestling at a young age, which any wrestlers out there know the dedication that comes with that sport. In my mind, it's the hardest sport in the world. And if you're able to get through wrestling, then I really believe you can get through anything in life. So I don't know. I'll try to introduce him into every sport, whatever he likes to do. Let him do that. But no matter what he wants to do, just make sure he works hard for it.
What's doing, everybody? I'm Alec Lace. Thank you for watching First Class Fatherhood. Today's guest on the podcast is TJ Dillashaw. TJ is a two-time UFC Bantamweight Champion. I'm honored to have him on the podcast today. Get down there, smack that subscribe button, tap the like, and let's jump into it right now with TJ Dillashaw on First Class Fatherhood. Joining me now, First Class Father, TJ Dillashaw. Welcome to First Class Fatherhood.
Oh, man, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, let's start here. How many kids do you have? How old?
I got one kid, and his Bronson Jack Dillashaw. He's 3.5 years old.
Wow, very cool. Did you guys know what you were having when you had him, or did you do any gender reveal to find out, or did you just wait till the end?
We knew what we were having. We couldn't wait. We were looking forward to having a son or a kid so bad that we wanted to know in advance.
Very cool. You guys having any more? You're one and done.
We're trying now.
All right, that's the fun part.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could, TJ, please just take a minute here to hit my listeners with a little bit about your background and what you do.
Yeah, my name's TJ Dillashaw. I'm a professional UFC fighter, two-time UFC Bantamweight Champion. Wrestled my whole life, but got into fighting and dropped out of grad school to become a physician's assistant to chase my dreams. And I'm glad I did because it all paid off.
Yeah, very cool, TJ. And so 3.5 years ago now, so far, how has the experience of becoming a father kind of changed your perspective on life?
It's made me a lot softer, I feel like. It's made me I'm in the gym all day long. I'm trained to be the baddest man on the planet, but then you got a sweet little son when you get home. So it's I feel like something that's made me a little softer, I guess I'd say, The first year of his life, I was in title fight after title fight, and I feel like he was very dependent on mother, and I didn't play as big a role. But, after that first year, he really needed, I guess you'd say, almost like a buddy dad, like someone to play with and be that fun guy when I come in and walk through that door from practice. And, just know when he starts like running at me and smiling, it just, there's nothing better.
Yeah, and I would imagine, TJ, like the difference or the dichotomy of trying to be the baddest man on the planet and then coming home and being the father to a young child, I would imagine that's got to be a difficult balance. Has becoming a dad changed you at all as a fighter, or has it made you rethink about maybe how long you'll stay in the fight game?
No, not really. I'm more motivated of not so much actual fighting, but just being the best, and I'm really good at it. So I'm that's my love for fighting is because I'm just really good at it, and I know that I could be the best in the world at it. But I've always known that, I'm 35 years old now, so I won't be fighting forever. I guess you could say that it has made me enjoy time away from fighting more. So, I guess I am a little eager to have more time to be able to, make memories for him. Things like when I grew up, things I got to do and vacations I went on and, things that I'll never forget. I want to be able to create those memories with him. And by me being too busy, it's a little harder to do that,
Yeah, very cool. What would you consider, TJ, to be the top values that you hope to instill in your son growing up?
I definitely want him to have a work ethic. That's definitely my number one thing my dad instilled in me was how hard we should work, no matter what, no matter how good you are, no matter what the goal is just grinding to your fullest. I just know there's no one in this sport that's going to work harder than me. No one's going to be in better condition than me. No one's going to be more prepared for me when I walk in that cage. And that's because something my dad instilled in me at a very young age. We were well off. He was very successful in business, but I had to work for anything I wanted. If I want, like I had to buy my own first vehicle. I had to, raise pigs and steers growing up. I mean, we worked really, really hard to get what we wanted, as well as got me into wrestling at a young age, which any wrestlers out there know the dedication that comes with that sport. In my mind, it's the hardest sport in the world. And if you're able to get through wrestling, then I really believe you can get through anything in life. So I don't know. I'll try to introduce him into every sport, whatever he likes to do. Let him do that. But no matter what he wants to do, just make sure he works hard for it.
Yeah, very well said. And how about as far as your son's reaction so far when you come home? Obviously, you look a little bruised up. You come home from the fight or home from training. And what's his reaction like? Is he well aware of what you do? What kind of responses do you have when he sees you come home all banged up?
Yeah, he's definitely aware of what I do. He's gone to some practices, even during fight camp when I come home. And unfortunately got cut a couple of times in fight camp, so I had stitches in my eyebrow, and he just knows that those are my owies. I've been walking around on crutches for the last 4 weeks because I had knee surgery, so he knows I have an owie in my knee and things like that. He watched, so my first fight he watched on TV, and I know it was the most gruesome fight I've had, and I was like bleeding everywhere because I had a big cut in my eyebrow. And so when I got home, he expected to see red all over my eye, and it wasn't there, but I had stitches, right? So he's seen those before, but he expected to see like blood on my face, and it wasn't there, so he kind of questioned that. But he's understands it, and he's into it, but he's still a kid, He's still like, even during the fight, he's off playing with his toys. He's not like so focused on the fight. It's not like he's not old enough yet to really have that attention span for it all, but he understands it.
Yeah, and obviously, the UFC has become one of the best sports in the country here, one of the biggest sports. And Brazilian Jiu Jitsu has taken off for kids, and MMA has become such a big part of the culture now. What kind of advice do you have for the parents out there, or what's a good age you would recommend for parents to get their kids involved in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu or training and that type of sport?
Yeah, it's about finding the right spot. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be doing much striking training. I mean, you could do like learning how to strike and things like that, but I wouldn't put my kid in any kind of sparring or anything at that at a young age, I remember me growing up playing football at a young age, and I don't think I'd even let him do that because I've learned so much about head trauma and things like that, right? But Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and wrestling and any forms of striking that, aren't as sparring heavy are great things to get involved in. I mean, I started wrestling when I was 8 years old. My little brother started wrestling when he was 5, and it helped develop us to become the men that we are. We're both very hardworking men. I've taken my son to jiu-jitsu, and he's 3, and they have kids that age. And, it's about finding the right spot that knows how, like the right gym that knows how to make it fun for kids, right? When you're 3 years old getting into jiu-jitsu, it should be more about playing games when you're there, and you learn a little bit of jiu-jitsu and things like that, but bowing on the mat, running around, and some of the martial arts respect things and like that. But I'd say when they start really picking it up, I was happy with getting involved in 8. You got to be afraid of not getting too serious about it and getting burnt out as well too as they get older. So there's always a fine line with every kid. It depends from kid to kid on how soon as you get them involved in it. If they show interest to it, that's the most important thing. Then get them involved. What I plan on doing is just having my son around practice. He sees what I do. I'm having fun. I'm doing it. Maybe he wants to jump in. If he doesn't, then he can do anything he wants to do. He could be whatever he wants to get involved in, I'm going to support it. So just kind of give them the opportunity to be introduced to any opportunity, music, baseball, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, whatever it may be,
Yeah, great stuff, TJ. And what about, I know he's young yet here, but what about as far as discipline goes? Are you a timeout guy, a spanker? How does discipline kind of work with you? And is that different than the discipline style that you grew up with?
Yeah, my son's never been spanked. Which is definitely different than I grew up. It's just a different time. We've had some timeouts. With me, I got to work on myself, just like making sure that I stay calm, right? Like not fighting fire with fire because that'll never work. They don't know how to control their emotions. So learning to just even if he's throwing a tantrum, just calmly talk to him, even though you're giving him a timeout. We've had a few timeouts. Let's say we're more on the timeout side of things rather than no physical spanking.
What about as far as your bedtime routine? Are you a book reader, a storyteller, a lullaby guy there? How does bedtime kind of work in your house?
Yeah, I mean, mom's mainly the bedtime lady, but I definitely have my times where I'm doing bedtime, and we do a little bit of everything. We do some story time. Sometimes he's more into me just making up stories for him to fall asleep to. We definitely cuddle, that's for sure. He wants me to lay in his bed with him and have him go to sleep, so we end up having to give him a bigger bed so that we can lay in there with him, And I'd say bedtime for us is he'll go to bed in his bed. He sleeps maybe half the night. I mean, maybe a handful of times he slept all the way through the night, but he ends up coming into mom and dad's bed around like 1 or 2 o'clock, every night. We hear his feet slapping across the floor, running from his bedroom to ours on a hardwood floor. So one day I know I'll miss that noise, but now you're just like, oh God, he's coming in our bedroom, but I just know that we almost need to like record that sound of his feet just like slapping across the floor, running into our bedroom.
Yeah, I know for me, one of those things, like I worked a lot of midnight shifts and stuff. I work on the railroad as a mechanic and stuff. And sometimes I'd be sitting there after I come home from work while everyone's sleeping and I don't hear those footsteps and I'll turn and they'll just be standing there still. Like, it'll freak me out sometimes, so sometimes it's good to hear them coming.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I mean, he's a little bit of everything with bedtime, stories, songs. We used to sing to him a lot when he was a kid. I think he's gonna be a little singer. He loves to sing. And then he's got an insane amount of books. We actually got a library card and we go pick out new books all the time. So he's into that a lot.
Yeah, really cool. What about for you, TJ? Here, as far as I know, you're still recovering from the surgery. What's the next fight looking like for you? Do you have an opponent yet? Do you have any kind of idea on the next fight or anything else what's coming next?
I have an idea. I don't have a specific opponent yet because I'll be fighting for the title. I'd say first quarter next year. It could be March. I'd say at the earliest. But the guys that are fighting for the belt right now in my weight class are Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan, and they're fighting October 30th. So they fight the 30th. That means they probably take all of November off, maybe start training a little bit December, get into fight camp January, February, fight March for the world title. So whoever wins that fight is who I'll be fighting at the beginning of next year.
Okay, very cool. What about as far as, have you have any thoughts about as far as after your fighting career? Are you looking to get into broadcasting? Do you have any kind of goals or plans for the future after your fight career is over?
Oh, I definitely have tons of plans, and I have things already set that I'm doing. Me and my wife own a cold press, USDA organic cold press juice store. It's a part of a franchise called Clean Juice. Not only do we own our own store out here in Yorba Linda, but we're also the area developers for Southern California. So we plan on opening 63 stores from San Diego, North LA, out to Palm Springs. So that's got my hands full there. I'm also got a couple roles with some other companies, head of marketing role and a VP of business development for another bit company. So I have some jobs on the side that are keeping me busy as well as my own businesses. So I have plenty to do when I'm done. I actually don't have to fight for money. I'm actually fighting because I want to.
Awesome stuff. All right, TJ, last thing I want to hit you with here. I love to ask all the dads that I get on the podcast, what type of advice do you have for that new dad or for that about to be father who's out there listening?
I mean, everyone always tells you the same stuff, but it's so crazy how true it is, right? It's always like so generic, but so true. I mean, definitely get your sleep if you're soon to be father, but especially that mother, their schedules are insane, I remember my son having to eat every 2 hours. By the time we feed him, I had to help my wife feed him and change his diaper every 2 hours and then put him down. You probably have 45 minutes until she has to wake up again, right? So definitely soaking up as much sleep as you can if you're soon to be father. If you are a father, newer father, I'd say the first year, at least in my opinion, your son or daughter is going to be all about the mom. She's the lifeline. She feeds him, like I was saying, feeding him every 2 hours. That was our source. We breastfed, so he lived off of mom, But I'd say after that first year, maybe even a little bit sooner, he starts getting his personality in there, and that's when you really become a lot more important, right? You're a lot more, a bigger role in their life. And I think during those developmental years, you need to really just be there, and be present. Don't be on your phone. Don't be zoning out on TV, and kind of really be present in your son's life, or your daughter's life, because those are some real important years in the first few years of their life. So I've noticed that. And yeah, we've had a great time watching him develop into the little human that he is,
Yeah, very cool. I love the message. This has been a lot of fun for me. I got to say, TJ Dillashaw, you're a first-class father all the way. And thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time here at First Class Fatherhood.
Of course, my pleasure.